Hey folks, welcome back. This is, I don't know if this is going to be on Explorminate or whether I'm going to put it on my own Battle Mode channel, but I'm playing Shadow Empire again. This is a little bit different though. This is a multiplayer game with some of my friends. One of the players is Richard Yorke, who you might know already from doing stuff for Matrix and Slitherine, and he's got his own channel where he plays loads of war games. What is it? Where no war game goes unplayed, or something like this. I'm sure Richard will be able to correct me on his catchphrase. And there's a couple of other friends that I play Dominions with quite regularly. So it's a 4-player game. We're all friends. I think we've all played several games together now, to the point where we all know each other relatively well. So it should be a friendly game. I say that we're all quite avid war gamers, and I think we can get quite competitive. So I don't know how this game is going to go. I'd like it. I've set the map up so that there's plenty of room for us to expand. I don't want this to be a game where it's 100 turns before you even see another player. That would not make a very exciting Let's Play, I don't think. Well, it might do. In fact, that might be cool, because it might actually be like a sort of single player Let's Play, except, with a really, really, really dangerous opponent on the end. But I think the way that I've set the game up with a history class of spread out. So people who are familiar with Shadow Empire know that there's history classes, which are a way of tailoring the game setup options so that you can kind of get the experience that you want a little bit more easily. The game on release, the game, it had what I consider to be the best map generator out of any game that I've played, pretty much. I think it's a magnificent map generator. The problem was it could be a little bit difficult sometimes to get the results you wanted. And the developer Vic has added these history classes which kind of allow you to change certain things. And one of the big complaints people had in the multiplayer community was that they were starting too close to one another. And that's mostly, Vic explained that it was mostly a function of where the major regimes are programmed to generate their, to start their cities, because they found them in areas that are actually going to be most useful for them, for survival, which is a really cool kind of, sandbox kind of thing, simulation kind of game. But it didn't always make for the most fun experiences of multiplayer if you're often starting, right on the border of two other players who are out to get you. So I've set the spread out option anyway. I didn't actually select any other options. Playing the game on normal difficulty, there's a couple of players who haven't played a whole lot of Shadow Empire, so we thought that we'd leave the difficulty on normal, so that any minor regimes that they're dealing with, or if there are other majors, I can't remember whether there'll be other majors or not. I can't actually. It's been a long time since I played multiplayer Shadow Empire. Before I start, just a proviso, just a kind of a word of warning. This game will likely go up several months later than I start it. I always welcome people commenting on my videos, and I find it so helpful when people who are better than me at the game, or who are more attentive, will kind of give me pointers and show me that I've missed stuff, and I just find it so useful. I will never ever say please don't do that. However, in this game, feel free to, because it's helpful for people who are watching, who might be watching the series to learn, or just because they like insights from people who aren't me. But don't be surprised if you don't see any, like if you say, hey, you missed this, or I think you should do this, and I don't do it. It's because you're talking to Ben from 3 months in the past. So, yeah, just be aware of that. But please, I sometimes get, people going, oh, I told you about this and you didn't do it. And it's like, look, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be, I'm not ignoring you. I read all the comments and I find them all interesting. I don't always agree with people, by the way. There's sometimes I'm like, no, I don't agree with that at all. But for the most part, I'll always listen. But if it looks like I'm ignoring you, I'm not. It's literally just because I've either pre-recorded the game like months in advance, which sometimes happens even with the single player games, or I've, I'm doing multiplayer like this. Okay, so that's out of the way. It's also, if you're looking for a really hardcore AAR with, really high level Shadow Empire experts who are going at each other tooth and nail, I don't know if that's going to be it. Now Richard and the other guys, they're competitive people when they play, and they want to win. And you might find that the game does get very, very competitive, and we start seeing some interesting skills. I think I'm quite good at Shadow Empire in single player, but I haven't played much multiplayer. And when I lurk on the forums and talk on the forums sometimes, and a lot of the advice that I see people giving one another for multiplayer, I don't think is necessarily always that relevant for single player, at least in my experience. But hell, this is a massive game, right? It's a big simulation sandbox game, and you know, what something that works on one planet doesn't always work on another, and something that will work on one difficulty setting doesn't work on another. I mean, if I draw your attention to a game like, let's look at, say, Total War Warhammer. If you see how people rank units in an individual army depending on the different, you know, difficulty levels, like if you watch Legends of Total War and how he ranks units on the legendary difficulty compared to, you know, and on very hard battle difficulty compared to how it is on normal, it's completely different. And Shadow Empire is a little bit like that, I think. I think certain things that work well in the lower difficulty levels don't work so well on the higher, and certain things that work on certain planets don't work well on, you know, like stuff that will work on a planet like this, as you're about to see, is just not going to work on, you know, a planet with less population, for example. So yeah, anyway, let's without going any further into trying to tell you how to enjoy the series, let's just get on with it. This is the Ring of Rust. We are an empire on a Seawa class planet. We've got four, there's going to be 3 main opponents, and yeah, let's get straight into it. The previous battle master is now buried, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It's now up to you to lead the Union to victory. You're the battle master of Ring of Rust. Okay, so here's the normal stuff. We're entering a time of relative calm. This is not going to last long. We'll get this for about a year of Earth time. Militia Loss of Faith is not a bad card. I don't mind that one. Propaganda Assist isn't particularly useful in the early game. Well, it might be. Gladiators and Travelling Teachers are excellent cards. Okay, before we go into any of the... I've not even looked at this yet. So this you are seeing exactly what I'm seeing. Let's just turn all this off. Where have we spawned? Okay, so you'll notice that there's fog of war in this game, but there is no map exploration. The reason for this... Oh, is that me? Oh, that's me. Okay, so the reason for this is because I want the other player... There's a small chance that the other players might load their turn up and go, oh, I can't play on that start. I'm sorry, guys. Wow, look at this. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. What do we notice about this starting position immediately? Let's just have a look at the... I mean, we can have a look at the strategic map if you like. Now... I'm going to rename my town, by the way, because Burren Range is a bit weird. But okay, so you'll notice that we're on a Seawa class planet, and there's plenty of water. It's still going to be considered to be an arid planet by the game, but it's not particularly. It looks like there's loads of rivers. Now, I'm just south of this river. We've got this river, which is a really, really defensible thing. It's not only a river; it's a river, and it's in cloud forest. Look, and there's jungle and cloud forest. This is going to be really, really easy to defend. So if we come to it, I mean, look, we don't want to be losing this as well. This is a really, really nice start. We've got a volcano here as well. There's another volcano here. We've got mountains at our back. It's going to be difficult to expand over in this direction, so that's kind of unfortunate. But we might be able to get round here, and we can get down this way. I think our expansion down into to the east is going to be limited. I think we're going to be going this way, and we're going to be heading out for. Look at this. This was a heavily populated planet. Very heavily, and there's huge metropolises. Look at these massive like hive city things, all abandoned now for the most part. We've got one of those to our northwest. We've got a volcano here. This is going to be the first place we want to get to. We've got some these marshy grassy lands to get through first. This is a super defensible place. We are trading ability to easily expand to our south and to our east. So that's not going to be easy. We will look. Fortunately, we're lucky. We can actually get a road through here. There's a road already, so we're going to get a road down this way. To the south, we can probably get down this way. We've got certain areas that are going to be blocked off. Now, there were quite a few potential starting locations for the players on this game, and I can't remember quite where they were now. And I didn't look too hard because it's going to give me a bit of an unfair advantage having been the person who created the map. So, and I don't want to I don't want the other players to feel like I'm cheating. Let's change these guys. I'm going to put these to is white that I usually use for my first. There we go. Okay, so these are... I chose a blue token colour for this one. Because we kind of said at the start of the game, let's make sure that we're not all the same, token colour, because it might make things a little bit confusing if we're all red or something. Okay, I'm not quite sure how the game works like that. I don't know if it detects that you're all using the same colour and then changes it, or whether it is not programmed for that eventuality. I'm going to show you the game setup options, or so the game setup. So here's the planetary statistics overview. So this is, I will actually go through these in more detail, but as you can see, yeah, propeller jet engine. So you'll see that the planet is a kind of Earth-like planet. It's got slightly stronger gravity, so it's going to be more difficult to get aircraft up because it's got quite a thick atmosphere. The temperature range is about Earth-like. It's kind of around 20 degrees. It's probably a little bit hotter than Earth, actually. The spin is only 7-hour days, so that's kind of interesting. And the tilt is such that we're going to get we should get quite a variety of weather patterns. You'll see that there is some kind of polar belt, but there's not much snow, so there's not much ice on this planet. We've just got a little bit on either. Kind of interesting how it's just generated it. You know, these are the poles by the looks of it, and it's kind of like some interesting pole that isn't wrapped around the planet like that. It's more sort of in some sort of spot around the top. Very, very cool. Then we've got cloud forests, so there's plenty of life on this planet, I believe. The planet's still geologically active. It doesn't look like there's any alien life forms. I'm not quite sure about that. Let me just double check. Oh no, my bad. We've got an aquatic large 2-meter carnivore. I don't know what we've got on the land. We'll be able to have a look. You'll see that there's no atmospheric human hazard. That's going to mean that we're going to start with infantry with no armor, which is kind of bad. They're human troops with no armor are absolutely useless. You have to. It pretty much forces you. I'd say that it pretty much forces you to go with model design early on. Okay, so and you can see this is the air content. We've got vegetation level of cloud forest. This is going to be a really, really fun map to play. It might be quite a long map. So at colonization, the planet had 2,468.9 million population. So it was a huge, huge populated planet. I'll just scroll down through the history sidebar so that you guys can just read this. It's a big planet, and you'll see that, yeah, great university on the planet. The sector capital was moved here. There's reserve supply. Liquid energy producers chose the planet as a relay station for the logistics and reserve supplies. This is the quadrant capital to the planet. It became a major player in scientific research. Humongous automated farms are constructed, so that's why we're going to have farmlands here. Several small companies created workshops. New quantum transmission satellites are being operated in the system of the planet. I don't know what that does. That'll be interesting to find out, though. Okay, and we're mostly services and with a little bit of agriculture. 63 zones in total. After the apocalypse, we are 70% scavengers, 8% raiders, and 22% farmers. This is a nice mix. There's not going to be too many raiders to bother the players early on, but although there will be some. We've got 4 million pop, which is a lot for a planet, in Shadow Empire at the start of the game. It's probably maybe about right for this sort of size, maybe, but it seems kind of a lot. You'll be able to see that there's going to be there's lots of nuclear attacks going on this planet. Forgotten nuclear reactor went into meltdown, radiating Zabarum. So there's going to be like radiation to deal with, which is always fun. Here's the weather patterns, and this is basically Maconian Rising. Yeah, 22.22 million survivors of the Dissolution War. They're divided over 6 major regimes. So there are actually 2 AI regimes as well, 2 AI majors in this game, which is going to be interesting. So there's not just human players in this. Now, biosphere and atmospherics. Again, I'll just scroll through this, let you have a look. I found that when I play multiplayer games, if I spend too long recording them, kind of takes my energy away from playing them. So forgive me if this is not going to be quite the same as my normal Let's Plays. I'm going to try and go into it in my usual detail. You might find some of the turns are going to be played a little bit quicker, just because if I'm having to record every turn, I don't always want to be going into exhaustive detail. Okay, let's have a look what we got at the start of the game with regards to. First, we want to look at leaders. This is important. So let's go to key info. Okay, I've got some good leaders. Look, I've got Cap 5, Cap 4. 2 3s, and we only got 2 Cap 1s. Secretary, let's have a look. That's a suitable secretary. Not going to complain about that. Got reasonable stats. She is going to be okay, so you can stay. Director of the Supreme Command Council. It's this old boy here. Yeah, he's not very good. We need to get him out of there. So he's gonna have to. We're gonna have to change him. The governor of Buren Range, which I'm gonna change. Administration's okay. Leadership. This guy's all right. This guy's okay. He likes fists though, and we're not going to go very high in fists, I don't think. The commander of the 1st Machine Gun Infantry Battalion, Diesel Baker. Wow, he's got a good intelligence score. And he's an inventor. Right, we want to get him out of that. Yeah, he started as a mechanic. We want to get him into model design. We're gonna go with model design first. We've already decided this. He's great. Like, look at him. I mean, we could put him into high command or anything. He's obviously really, really good. But we want this guy in model design. I think he doesn't have any model design. Doesn't have technician, actually. He's got inventor. Oh no, he doesn't want to be model design. He wants to be a scientist. Technician is model discovery and design. Okay, so this guy is going to go into military research or economic research council. We've got a reserve pool member here, Blake Tompfield, with a high trade skill. Decent war rating as well. Now this guy, this is a potential for the Supreme Command Council. He's capacity 4, capability 4, sorry. Let's have a look at the 1st SHQ. He's got a really high command, operational command. Covert ops is 10. He's got some, yeah, he can stay in 1st SHQ. He's great. High ambition. We've got an advisor at capacity 5, which is kind of, you know, not unheard of when you're playing meritocracy like I've gone. This is why I go meritocracy, by the way. I just think having decent commanders at the start of the game is really, really helpful. It's hard to keep meritocracy up, but if we go into the profile text, I think this is why I think this is such a genius game, by the way. I think this is a genius game design, and the way that profiles work is partly because of this. Not all of these are immediately obvious that they're good. For example, you know, like, why would you choose autocracy when you've got meritocracy gives you plus 30 diplomacy rolls, which is quite useful. Democracy gives you a plus 40 political bonus. That seems like a no-brainer, right? And recruit civilians a good card. But look, you know, recruit talent's an amazing card. That is really, really good. And then if you actually go into autocracy, there's a stratagem here called recruit special ops, which is absolutely crucial. And like, I mean, it's not crucial necessarily if you manage to get a decent special ops guy, but this card, this makes your secret service council so strong. That's just an example. I mean, look, you can go in, like, again, FIST doesn't seem to give you anything that good at the start unless you really value militia. However, you get to Esprit de Corps, or Esprit de Corps, I don't know how you pronounce that, and you get a 25% combat bonus. That's massive. That's like, if you, all other things being equal, right, if you go up against an opponent and you've got a 25% bonus to your combat skills, combat rolls, you're going to win, okay? So this is like really, really powerful. And then you get to fanaticism and you get 40%, which is just like, you know, that's game over, man, for your opponent. So, you know, there's a certain trajectory that you kind of want to go through, and you've got to figure out which planet you're on, which you know, what's around you, what your neighbors are like. I went with commerce, I went with mind, and I went with meritocracy. Meritocracy is I like to get because I like the decent leaders. I do miss the political point bonus though that you get. Autocracy you want later in the game, definitely, but meritocracy I think at the start is just so worth going. Democracy is really good as well though. I'll give it, I mean, quality of life bonus 50% is huge. So this is a real trade-off between meritocracy and democracy at the start. If you're planning on playing really, really hard, you can go to autocracy. My first few games that I played Shadow Empire, I went autocracy at the start, and you know, I never did badly doing that either. That is also one way to go. Enforcement's nice for your tax bonus. I might switch to that if I start having problems with money, but I like to go commerce first because I like the private economy bonus. I just think it's really powerful. Population happiness bonus is also really powerful. Wealthy friends, commerce bonus 100%. It's quite easy to get commerce this high. Any higher, it starts getting a bit more difficult. But the private economy bonus 50% is also pretty powerful. Once you've got your this helps with quality of life, which means that you don't necessarily have to worry too much about, you know, like this. Going commerce mitigates democracy a little bit, and you know, mind. I've started going with heart in games now. Morale bonus, having high morale bonus and high character loyalty bonus is really strong. But I do miss the research bonus that you get. But I think what I might do, I might try and play this a little bit. I might try and have my cake and eat it here. Fist is alright. It's dead powerful later, okay? And once you get to a spirit decor, this is just really, really strong. So we will want to go this way eventually. However, I think I'm going to go into mind. I'm going to go as high into mind as I can until I've got at least curiosity. No, that's not the one I'm thinking. I'm thinking logical thought. I'd like to get the high research bonus. If I don't get that, I'm not bothered. Because as soon as possible after this, I want to transition into a heart. And then we want to go up this way. So I'm going to try and balance these out. You can do that in Shadow Empire. It's not always that easy. Although with the new card scrapping mechanics, which allow you to place assets that give you a profile bonus, it does actually help. Okay, so we've looked at one thing we need to look at, which was the leaders. We've got good leaders. I don't know if I looked at all of them. I think that probably was it actually. So yeah, we got a good advisor. Blake Tomfield is going to be we're going to put him in one of the councils early. We've got this guy who is, I think we're going to probably take him out of here, out of the commander of the first SHQ, and oh no, sorry, the middle of this guy here, and we're going to put this guy into, yeah, he's going to go into one of our councils. So this reserve pool member here, I think, yeah, you see, he's got a good war rating. His capability 4, right? He's intelligence 36. I think if he in a pinch he'll do as a model design. He's already got some ability in model design. Look, he's got a little bit in inventor. In technician. And we've got this guy. Yeah, he's okay. I mean, I've started to play with putting high capability leaders in your cities, and it really, really helps. It really helps with, you know, mitigating some of the worst, some of those early nasty like events you get, like quack doctors and stuff. It can really help with those. However, we've got a nice advisor, and I think with this guy is going to be. I mean, look, he's got a high technician merit. We could potentially put this guy into the model design. The problem is because he's high ambition, it's going to upset him doing so, and his loyalty is not that high already. So I think what we want to do is keep him as an advisor. Advisor is basically I think it's the highest level of, you know, of commander. You know, they like being there. So we're not going to move him yet. His natural relation point is actually quite low. Why is that? He must be because he's part of a faction. Equality army. Let's have a look at the equality army. God, I dread to think what that means. Yes. Let's have a look. Faction overview. They're fists in democracy, right? We're not going in that way. So yeah, it's gonna be hard to keep these guys happy. Meritocracy and heart are going to be easier to keep happy, right? So we're already at odds a little bit with our ruling people in the Senate, because they want fists in democracy, and I'd like, look, democracy. I mean, I could go democracy. The problem is that not only am I kind of like, I'd like to get this. The diplomacy rolls plus 30 is really helpful. Benefits for capable supervisors, you get more food, which is useful. Operational command rolls, that is really, really useful. But maybe we go into democracy early. Yeah, maybe that might be the way, just because I think these guys, look, who have we got in there? We've got Doug Matthews, he's capability 5. Gray Simpson, this is the governor of our main city. And we've got Blake Tomfield, who was capability 4 reserve pool, who's going to be going into our, probably, you know, one of our councils. We've got to keep these guys sweet. Now, he likes enforcement, militia and democracy. He's fist, militia and democracy. Okay, so we can at the start of the game we can put a payment. We can actually pay the on turn 2. We can actually pay the militia, and the militia is actually going to help us there. That's actually going to help these guys like us more. Oh, this game always throws you some interesting stuff, doesn't it? Let's have a look at models, and I'm praying that these are good. All right, so we've got We've actually got armor on our grunts. This is interesting. So we started with thermo suits. That's not bad. We've got an armor rating on them. Thank God. Sometimes on these planets you start and you don't get any. I don't. Is that because of the temperature? I wonder. Sometimes you start with no armor and they're useless. They're just utterly useless. I mean, these are they might like these guys like the rifle militia. These have actually got better. They're actually better than our soldiers. They've got more, they're going to have more hit points. These guys got a thermo suit. Ah, and that's why. It's because of temperature. We're in a hot area. 42 degrees. This is really hot. That's why they got the thermo suit, I guess. Okay, now, their structural design is good. And their base design... These are not bad. The weapon's bad. They've got a bad weapon roll, but they've got really good armor. So, these are usable. They're really... This is really lucky. We got a really good roll here. 103 is not bad for structural design here. Now their weapon and armor is bad. They've got really bad armor, unfortunately. But they're kind of usable. We don't want to be throwing these guys too soon into combat, I don't think. Now, the recon rover's awful. Look at that. I don't think I've ever seen a roll as bad as that. 49 and 46 for weapon and armor. Yeah, I'm not going to use that at all, I don't think. It's just not worth it. It's got a soft attack that's worse than the grunts, look. It's almost as bad. It's just so bad. The green bus, yeah, it doesn't matter about that. I don't care about that at all. The efficiency is kind of important. We can redesign that, but I think the recon rover is going to need a redesign. My buddy Trifler likes to redesign these early, and he drops the engine size, I think, just to make them a little bit more, and I think that might be a good thing to do with that. I think here, look, we looked out on this on the grunts here. The machine gunners aren't very good actually, but they'll do the job. They'll do their job in defense. But I think these grunts, these might mean that we don't need to go model design immediately. Now, it depends on how close we are to our AI neighbors and to the human neighbors. But you might find that this is a decent enough start that we can probably go with Economic Council or Military Research Council and really leverage that the profile choice that we got, because I went into mind. If we can get mind higher. Simpson found unusual companion. Okay. I might allow this. It's going to put fist up. The problem. So that's going to, I mean, I'd rather go with mine. The problem is, I want this guy to. I want these dudes to. When I say these dudes, sorry, I want the Equality Army, and the Equality Army seem to like fist, right? So I think I might go with this actually. I might let him do it. He's got like some. He's got some person. He wants to take his boyfriend with him basically on his travels. That's what's going on here. Or he's got some mistress. Yeah, I think we should allow him to do that. I think raising commerce is going to be good for us. In this case, raising fist is going to be good for us. It's kind of a bit counterproductive to what we want to be doing actually. With regards to our profile. We've got the opportunity to raise commerce again through the Ascension speech. Now, again, raising government is going to help, mind you. The commander of the first SCHQ does not like that. I'd like the advisor's rating to go up, but I think we're going to go with commerce. Let's lean into commerce. So, why have I done that, Ben? Well, viewer, I'll tell you. We're doing that because if we go to the profile, we really want to push into getting free market. Look, we've got once we've had this for 2 rounds, we'll have an opportunity to get free market, and then maybe we can go with enforcement or government. Bureaucratic bonus plus 40% is huge, man. But also tax bonus 50% is huge. This is what I mean. This game really forces you to make some critical choices. And I know a lot of people don't value the private economy bonus, but I tell you, man, if you want to play a game where you're having to build all your own quality of life buildings, that is hard work. And not only do you have to build them all yourself, you've got to research them first as well, which means that unless you're going into mind, it's kind of difficult. So I really value commerce. I think it's really I don't know how the rest of the community feel about commerce, but I like it. I think it's a solid first choice if you're not sure about what's going on. I think we should go. Let me think about this. Let us first look at what we've got around us. So we've got a volcano nearby. Got 2 volcanoes nearby. Unless I'm very unlucky, I should be able to secure one of those, which means that our power supply problems are, are fixed. Which means, well, I think in a multiplayer game, you're wise to you know that old saying, "Walk softly but carry a big stick." I think that, in a game where you're unsure about how aggressive your neighbours are going to be, getting your military research up is probably quite important. I want model design early, but I don't know if I want it immediately in this game. I might actually go military research council. Then the next one I'll go for is model design, and that will get me some strong troops, just in case I come across something that is difficult to fight, because these troops, right, slug throwers and thermosuits are not gonna hold up. So that means that you are going. I mean, we can immediately, once we get the model design council, we can redesign these and we can get carbines and padded envirosuits. I think. Yeah, I think. Just remind myself what we get in the early tech. Envirosuits, yeah. So, oh no, padded envirosuits comes in this level. So yeah, in order to get the better envirosuits, envirosuits is not thermosuits though. Okay, so model design is something that we could do initially. The thing is, the leaders that we've got are kind of telling me, mind you, this guy's really good. He's capability 4, even with intelligence 36, which isn't the highest. He could go really into anywhere he wants. If I really wanted to min-max this, I could really have a really careful think about how to place these guys. I mean, that nice trade skill would be really good as the governor, to be honest. But this guy's not bad. And I think early on, I think I'd probably like to get decent. I really value, technological advancement as early as possible. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to stick with. Yeah, see, Commander of the First SHQ being good, I like that. I want him to stay there. First SHQ is really important. Yeah, I think he's like super good as well. So we've got at the moment we've got and we've also got the Commander of the First Machine Gun Brigade as well. This guy's really high intelligence too. Look, and he's an inventor. So taking this guy out of here and putting him into a council, not only will he like that, it's going to cost a few political points though. He'll like that though. What the problem is then we've got to get somebody in as our, in the SHQ, sorry, in the OHQ, in the First Machine Gun Brigade. Now, who have we got around us? We've got a mining regime here, Rishno Reich, Pepetto territory. So those are going to be mutants. They're going to be scavengers. They're going to come at us straight away, but they're not very strong. We've got Vimar Hansa. What are they? Who knows? Their flag makes them look like they might be nasty. And Rishno Reich. With a bit of luck, these are farmers, but I don't see any farmland. They could be anything. Around those ruins. I want to get in there. Look at that, man. That's a really, really, really nice start. By the way, there's loads of these, though. The other players should have plenty of opportunities to get in them. To get some nice ruins as well. Ruins are useful, though, because they give you loads of technology. Like nice little things for your technology. And, you can get scavenging points. So if you don't find any metal, you can scavenge. You can just scavenge the metal out of those. And there's going to be a lot of scavenging points in this game. Look, I've already started quite close to a couple. I want to pay my militia next turn, so I'm not going to buy out any of my starting assets. Who do we go with then? That's the question. Model design's always good. I'm I mean, I need better buggies. I'd like to get motorbikes ASAP, because motorbikes and buggies make your exploration just like so much easier. Although I do have a lot of bad terrain. I mean, look, it's going to be difficult for me to get down here. Once I've got down to this area, getting through these mountains is going to be a job for the later game. We can go this way, I suppose, and we could kind of figure out what's going down here. But yeah, this is my first turn. I want to get here and secure this place. If there's no zone here already, I need to put a zone up and get myself a second zone out amongst this. This is going to be incredibly easy to defend. This, you know, this ruins of this old hive. There's another one here. Look, man, this is going to be a cool map. If the players of this game enjoy it and they, you know, we can end up finishing. I think this could be a really, really, really good game. It could be a really, really good game. There's some cool terrain. There's some cool mixes of terrain as well. There's some really, really cool mixes of terrain, look. I mean, some of it's crazy. It's going to be crazy warfare. Okay, back to where I was. It's a toss-up really now, I think, between the Model Design, Economic Design Council and the Military Research Council. The Economic Research Council. Power's going to be useful early on once we've got factories up, once we've got an industry asset up. But I mean, usually I don't get that early. I know a lot of people. I mean, I try to get it as early as I can, but it's usually not that possible. However, with this scavenging, I might be okay. And if we look out and find some metal, we might be able to get industry up really quickly. Because I've gone commerce, I don't have to worry too much about quality of life. Because the AI will do that for me to some extent. Population happiness is high. Work happiness is above par. I'm going to go Military Research Council, I think. And then I'm going to go Model Design. And then I'm going to go Economic Council. I think that's going to be the way to do it. Because I don't want to be spending excessive political points designing stuff. Mind you. Do I have the bureaucracy? Yeah, see, you have to have the bureaucracy to be able to run a lot of that stuff. Oh, decisions. What I might do, guys, I might have a think about this and then let you know my decision next time, because I don't want you to sit here with me pondering. The other design decision we've got a slave trader. This guy's actually cool. You can extort tax from him eventually. You can make money from him. Just ignore him for now, I think. Mind you, we could sell pop. Do we sell 2,000 population and make some money? Population is like this is not going to be a low. Look, I've just uncovered another asset. I mean, that might be worth doing. 2,000 pop's a lot, right? 200 credits a lot of the game at the start of the game as well. The other thing is, of course, is we can immediately trade stuff. And I think before the other players start doing that, I am actually going to do that. We've got decent rainfall. We're also near to a river. We are not going to worry about water in this game. So water is going to be essentially worthless. So let's sell. Let's sell some water.
Copy that.
So we made 65 credits there. We can also sell some food. And I think food is probably something we want to sell too.
Copy that.
Okay, so we've already got a decent amount of money. 200 credits of that is going to go to the militia next turn. I'm going to save the rest of it. We could probably like really economic powerhouse this game if we work on it. Yeah, which I'm just not sure which council to go with. Let's move out and find out what's going on around us first. I think probably I want to try to figure out. Now this is going to be mutants, which means that they're probably going to like move straight into us. It's kind of annoying because if they do, I'm going to have to use my army to defend. And my army are well matched against mutants because mutants are very weak. That said, I want to get up here as early as possible because the quicker I get any technology out of this, you know, and the scavenging, the better. Let's move our militia up this way. Crawler Industries. Oh, we've got an auto factory. A small degraded auto factory, 80 oh, wow. Okay, we got that on the first turn as well. Right. Okay, we have this is a good start for me. This is a really, really good start for me. Oh, we've got radiation here, look. 79 radiation is not that bad. It's going to get worse, though, as there must be a nuked zone here. Interesting. Okay, let's get these militia out this way. The quicker we find where these mutants are, the better, I'd say. Probably really didn't want to move those into those mountains. Bit of a waste of their movement, actually, but... Okay. Just want to push out all this, you know, around us. Not going to get much coming through those mountains. And let's have these guys moving out in this direction. And I'll keep the just in case we get an event, keep those guys on the SHQ here. Sorry, on Burin range. Next thing I want to do is let's call this guy. I do this every time, by the way, pretty much. It costs 2 political points, which is a thing, but firstly, I want to rename my zone. So I'm going to call this what we call the Ring of Rust. Think of a suitable name. Yeah, so you know in Dominions there's a bit of a thing for just calling your pretender something silly, and you know that's cool. But I think I like to take Shadow Empire a little bit more seriously. I really like the setting of the theme of it, and I think the other players in this game will probably do the same. Although Richard Yorke's a wild card, so he could come up with anything. Buran range, yeah, I don't like that so much. So let's change this. Let's call it. I'm going to call it High Peak because we're kind of on the we're kind of on the edge of the mountains here. So let's call it High Peak. I like that name. Okay, go on High Peak, and you want to do that first because if you try to change any of these settings and then you change the zone name, it'll reset them all. Just so you know, we've got plenty of poppers on this one, so I'm actually going to put the max recruits up quite a way. And I'll start automatic. I'm immediately going to get some colonists. I think I'm going to, if I can't find any zones nearby, I'm going to be making my own zones really fast. Worker salary, I want to put up a little bit. I think we're going to be all right for money on this. I've got a feeling we are. And recruit sign up bonus, take right down. You don't need that. You can just put 1 in it or something. I don't know, like, I've never really noticed a huge drop in recruits by doing this. Maybe just the way, maybe this just works with my playstyle, I'm not sure. Colonist sign up bonus, you don't need any either. Just put 1 in. A small amount isn't going to hurt. Allow emergency food, we absolutely want to do. And worker recruitment, we'll just keep this on the base level. I've never messed with this. I think if, you know, I'm sure min-max types have figured out which is the best one to do at certain times. I don't really know, to be honest. Maybe if anybody in the comments knows, like, whether to use this worker recruitment. Sometimes you don't want to be firing workers every turn. And also, if you've got like different happiness levels, I guess, in, you know, between your population and your worker, that might make a difference. Let's put something into the public budget, even though we've got commerce bonus. I don't think we don't want to be putting too much money in here, but we've got a little bit of money at the moment, so yeah, I'll put the worker salary up perhaps just a little bit. Gotta be a bit careful doing this too high, because you don't want to drop it later. That's the thing. But I might just leave that on 5 for the time being. Let's just leave it low for the time being. It's easier to go up than it is down, I'll tell you. Max recruits at 1,000 should be fine. Okay. Yeah, and the slave trader. I can always call this guy whenever I want to do this, so yeah, you can get rid of him eventually if you want. I'm not going to do that now. He's actually dead useful. The problem is he does cause unhappiness. He steals population and he causes unhappiness, so you've got to be a bit careful with this. But if you need money or you need pop, you can, like, he's useful. He's useful to have. Another wonderful game design decision in this game. He's kind of a problem, but he's kind of useful as well. You have to decide whether you want him or not. I think for the time being, I'm just going to ignore him. I don't need the money yet. I can always sell some population later if I need to. That actually saved me on one of my games recently. Yeah. Foreign affairs probably not going to be that useful unless I get some friendly neighbours. Secret Service Council, I don't have that. I don't play that at the start. That's not useful at the start. Neither is the Air Force. Interior Council can be very useful if you've got a bad bunch of leaders. Also, Interior Council is useful for economic stuff, I think. Staff Council's not very good at the start. It's really it's between these three, isn't it? I think I'm going to play kind of a greedy game. I'd probably go with economic council just to really like push up things like quality of life, but I don't know as though I need it at the moment. And I've taken commerce partly to kind of get around that. So I think I'll tell you what's throwing me, right? What is throwing me is that I've got this guy, and this guy looks like he's going to be good going into, was it him or was it the, yeah, one of these, right? One of these guys would, yeah, inventor here, look. So this is kind of, I don't want to waste this dude. And if he, look, I mean, if he dies in battle, I'm going to be really upset. He's not very heroic though, so he's probably less likely to lead from the front. Yeah, so this guy actually gives you a morale boost. I mean, lead from the front's actually quite good. The problem is that you do occasionally die if they get attacked. You got to be a bit careful with that. I want to get him out of here as soon as possible. He's too intelligent to be just a military commander, to be honest. I mean, look, he'd be good in the high command as well. Although he's not as good as the current commander of the first SHQ, so we'll just leave him there. It's Supreme Command Council guy is not very good. Kind of need to get someone better in there, actually. Now we could recruit a junior. Yeah, this will never. This is a good card to play. The problem is it's not going to work. We need. Normally, I think this is. Oh, it's normally played by the Interior Council. So we're not going to be able to raise income tax until we've got Interior Council up. I think I'm going to go model design. I'm going to play it safe. Let's go model design, then let's go military, and then we'll go economic. And I think after that, interior or secret service, one of those. And then yeah, because look, we've actually got a big boost to our industry already. This is amazing, by the way. Getting this is just so lucky. This has been a really good start for me. I hope the other players have as good a start as this, because you know, in asymmetric start games like this, where you know it's not balanced, it can really change the game depending on whether you get a good start or not. But then there is diplomacy, and diplomacy does help mitigate, you know, problems. For example, if I get a really good start and no one else does, you might find they end up teaming up on me. But I'm not going to be telling them that I've got a good start. That's really not what you want to be doing in a game like this. In a game with any kind of diplomacy, you know, you don't want to be boasting that you're the strongest person, not unless you're so strong that you're confident that you can win. These are nice cards to play. Propaganda Assistance is quite a good card as well. I will leave that for the time being. Okay, guys, that's going to be it. I'm sorry this was such a long episode, but I think, you know, it takes there's a lot to look at the start of a game of Shadow Empire, I think. And particularly with a multiplayer game, I think you've really got to think about it a little bit more deeply. This is going to be a crazy map, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, well, I hope you're as excited for this series as I am. I will catch you next time. Take care.